Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, and welcome back to the Just Can't Decide YouTube channel, where today we'll be playing Train Sim World 2. I haven't uploaded in a while, but I got this game recently, and I never actually played the first version of Train Sim World, but the second version certainly seems fun. I've played it a little bit on my own, but I decided that I would like to start uploading content. So today we're going to the London Underground Bakerloo Line set of timetables and scenarios, and we're going to replay the taking stock scenario, which I have done once or twice before, but it's always fun to see if we can improve in a score. So, without further ado, let's jump right in and see if I can beat 13,144 points. I'll see you in a minute. Okie dokie, so we are now in the taking stock scenario in Harrow and Wealdstone Station at nighttime. We're operating a southbound train to Queen's Park and then driving it empty back to Stonebridge Park Depot. So let's go ahead and open the doors and let our passengers on. And as soon as our train is ready to go here, we will wait about 15 seconds and be on our way. And if you want to open your window in this game, you have to set the drop light interlock left to cut out, and then you're able to open your window without the train stopping, which is always nice. And for some reason it's telling me to acknowledge warning, but now we have the right stop. The scenarios certainly start pretty quick in this game, but as soon as you get past the initial set 5 different things up all around your cabin, it's a pretty relaxing experience. And I certainly do not have much to complain about with this game. So we're going to set this destination blind to Queen's Park before we pull into the next station, and also turn on our passenger lights, and turn on... gauge lights are already on, but we'll go ahead and turn that on as well. I'm not always exactly sure what the right method is to stopping these London Underground 1972 stock simulator trains into stations correctly but smoothly, but I always seem to figure it out one way or another. Some things that sort of I wish this game had done a little bit better for its $30 price point include possibly having more people on the platforms to board into your train, although this particular scenario is very late at night. So it's maybe less unrealistic in this case than in the ones that take place during rush hour. sprinkled throughout this, I might give some tips for what I've found works best driving these. If any of you are trying to play this game yourself but haven't quite figured it out yet. It's cool how mostly everything in these train cars, including the sun visors and other random relay buttons that I have no idea what they do, are able to be pressed. In about 720 yards, we have another station, so shortly here, even if I'm still below speed limit, I'm likely going to stop accelerating. And since we're approaching the edge of the platform, I'll go ahead and start applying a very light brake. I haven't actually uploaded in quite some time because I frankly got a little bit disinterested in doing the various Minecraft and Lego content I was doing before, and had to take a bit of a break for quite a while to find some new stuff to play. But I am back now and have a pretty solid plan to actually start uploading on a somewhat regular basis. I'll probably start to upload about once a week. Also throwing some Farming Simulator 19 in there alongside this game, so hopefully that is of interest to y'all. You can change your cab light setting up at this knob up here by clicking on it and dragging the mouse as you control all dials in this game. But probably just leave it on the right, because with the realism of this, you find you're okay then. And that is why I don't get distracted talking, but we're still fine. But anyway, I would just suggest leaving that on right, or putting it on right only if you're setting up the cab in a timetable. Purely because if you have the left light on, as I'll show you, you kind of get a lot of glare in this front window. And start closing the doors a couple seconds early so that we're ready to depart. And pretty much just slam it into third gear right away. If the tracks were wet outside, you probably wouldn't want to do that, but I've found that it's the only way to really stay on time is in dry conditions to throw the throttle all the way up right away. Probably what I'm gonna do is run this service to the siding at Queen's Park and then break the video into a second part here so that It's not quite as long in one sitting. Most of the scenarios take 50 or 60 minutes. Some even like 2 full hours. So probably going to be a pretty common thing that I break these into multiple parts and upload them in consecutive weeks. Although when I do have scenarios that only take about like half an hour or so, I will probably do them as one-parters and then alternate them off with farming sim. By the way, feel free to leave any like farm sim map suggestions or suggestions for what I should do next in Train Sim World recorded for you guys in the comment section below the video. That way I'll be able to see some of that feedback and maybe personalize the content a little bit more to what y'all want. And why? Huh. Oh. Guess the doors didn't actually fully shut. If you press arrow keys, you can get views of all your different button panels and eventually end up sticking your head out the window of the train, which is nice for a good view. And since we're going downhill, probably just stop, accelerating, and slowly start some braking in here. You actually have a decent amount of margin above the red marker on your speed gauge. It goes in at the bottom of the digit of the speed number, not the top. So you can let it exceed a little bit before braking, which allows you to not have to brake to quite as slow of a speed to stay under the limit. Although that does change depending on the speed of the train you're driving, obviously. On a faster moving train, the numbers will be closer together and the red marker will be more critical to adhere to precisely. And if you suspect that you're running late, you can lock the doors a little bit early, which is in reference to a corner on the little train icon inside of the boarding circle. I can point it out more closely at the next station. It's a little bit strange to me, although I am no expert about railways. why they have speed limits on the track that the trains are not physically capable of achieving. And there is another station in 600 yards. So just slowly decelerate, and we'll start braking here. Pretty much as long as you're going 30 by the time the platform starts, you'll be able to stop on time. But you do want to try to avoid using any braking power more than about 4-ish. Because that does result in you just getting a ton of wheel slip and then being unable to control the train. So it's this corner here, when the yellow circle is just before there, you're able to go ahead and close the doors if you're running late, and that will help you get a little bit back on schedule just by getting you out of the station those few seconds earlier. It's also cool how they went to the effort of implementing all of the other trains driving along the track in scenarios. And I believe it is that way in the timetables too. And since we're stopping in about 250 yards or so, just start braking a little bit. And as this platform is curved, you actually don't need as much braking because there's increased friction. And you can press 2 to get this camera view. Looks like our door is still on the platform. And 1 to get back inside. And now we wait. And go ahead and lock them. And accelerate again. You can press T to see a timetable of all your stops. And we're actually almost to Queen's Park here. So we're going to decelerate to not speed there. And just keep going. We have a 45 mile per hour speed limit there. Or, well, Some of my speed limits are still in kilometers per hour, even though I have it set to automatic. I'll have to look at that in a minute here. But since we are stopping in 400 meters and going through a tunnel to reach that, I'll just start slowing down a little bit. So my controls, the defaults of the game, are I am pressing A to accelerate and D to decelerate, and then W can move your reverser forward and back. But anyway, pretty simple control scheme. And if you ever want to see a full list of your controls, press escape in settings and controls. And then you're able to click on keyboard controls and see every single key combination that exists for the game. As we wait for passengers to load here, you can see that there's a windshield wiper here, which will turn on a wiper in the front there. But anyway, I need to get back to locking the doors, and nope, black button locks it. And whistle. As you can hear, they have realistic PA announcements in the station. Although I kind of do wish they did that on the actual trains. My other slight frustration with this game is just how much it costs to purchase any of the DLC. I find that the same cost as the entire game is a little bit unreasonable for an additional, like, 3 locomotives and several scenarios. But there is a DLC made by a third-party developer releasing soon that costs a bit less, so who knows, I might end up getting that one. And as you can see, it's really a 15 speed limit because I have metric units somehow. Other things that would be nice would include transparent shed windows. Or at least like translucent ones in the daytime. But we're coming into Queen's Park here, and seeing as this is the last station before we pull into a siding and turn the train around, we do have to wait a little bit more here for passengers to board. 14 miles per hour can be shed with level 1 and 2 brake in that last stopping mark there. And I believe, got the door on the platform. This camera snapping to background obstacles is very annoying when you're trying to make it look cinematic, but also I kind of see the point in it because they don't want people seeing the untextured insides of station models and such. You can press 2 to get this, and 2 again to get the rear end, 3 to get this, and 3 to get another one that you can move around with the arrow keys, and 8 to get a stationary camera. Well, one that you can move around but is separate from the train's motion. And 0 is a camera control HUD. So let's just go back into the cab, lock the doors, and as soon as I pull into this siding, I'm going to split this into another episode, I think. Seeing as it's almost been roughly 25 minutes. Just gonna slowly accelerate with some notch 1 throttle, seeing as, 1 and 2, seeing as the speed limit is so low. You would go down into the Bakerloo Line tunnels to the right of this siding shed if you were doing the full line. And just slowly decelerate and stop right on the mark. Okay, so there's the journey from Harrow and Wealdstone to Queen's Park. And make sure to check out the link in the description and also a card that will appear in the upper right hand corner of your screen if you're on the device that has them enabled right now to see the second part of this as soon as it's released. But for now, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!